Why do people look down on fast food workers and store clerks and smaller jobs like that? They're all needed for society to run the way people like. And in my opinion, if you ever go out to eat, you have no right to judge the workers or look down on them if you enjoy the food and benefit from their work. You can't really explain it. People just tend to feel superior to people they have higher social standing than. Only really shitty people do that. People like to feel superior to other people. Our society has decided that fast food workers and store clerks are the lowest rung on the employed ladder. Who in our society decided that? The lowest members of the next rung up on the ladder. But there's an unemployed ladder too. Some fast food workers and retail clerks look down on the homeless. Which ones? The crappier fast food workers and retail clerks. One of good explanations is just world hypothesis. Those people don't want to accept the fact that life is unjust, so they come up with reasons why poor people deserve misery, and they don't. They actually believe they're better humans than essential workers, just to preserve their comfort. I live in a city with that as 3 major universities, and 2 smaller campuses for other large universities. My automatic assumption is that anybody serving me is at least doing an engineering law double degree and is probably a lot smarter than I'll ever be. It says a lot about the character of the person judging. I worked at McDonald's for a while, and I am very grateful for all the learnings I had, which I certainly would not have had if I had not worked there. So a person who judges that, for me, that person is a sucker. Some people are very tall. The messaging of the customer is always right did a lot of damage in my opinion. Unhappy people often take out their unhappiness on people they feel they have power over. As the customer, they get that feeling of power and superiority over the employees there. Bullies and abusers target people they view as beneath them. And there are a lot of entitled bullies and abusers that take the customer is always right as a license to be themselves because they're the customer and you need to tear them as right. Because they never had a service job. Should be mandatory for at least 6 months of your life so you can learn to respect people. Their self-worth is so low that only by bringing others down they feel good. Scummy humans. So they can feel better about their job, which is probably realistically useless and just an ancillary position created by capitalism and doesn't add anything of substance to society and in some cases makes it worse. Superiority complex. Because doing so distracts them from the pointless, meaningless existences they lead themselves as basic, consumerist meat puppets. It's just so that they can feel better about themselves. Many humans have such self-doubt that they need to put others down in order to feel better about themselves. I was once a store clerk, a restaurant worker, a cleaner, put myself through college and am now in a white-collar job. I will never look down on anyone performing the job. Everyone deserves respect and common decency, and benefits and a living wage. People don't want to do those jobs, so they believe that anyone who does agree to do those jobs are somehow lesser. Because those people think they have the chance to be a billionaire one day, or they just think that they are better than minimum wage workers. They don't pay enough to hold on to good people. So an outsized percentage of them are scumbags and small-time criminals. Just yesterday my frozen Coke at McDonald's came with a side of racism. A lot of people think the U.S. is a meritocracy, i.e. everyone is where they deserve to be, seeing everyone divided into groups along a hierarchy. You feel unconnected to those outside your group. And, of course, you feel superior to those who appear to be in lower economic groups. If you weren't better than them, they would have a job that pays like your job pays. I assume that it's because they can't comprehend why a lot of people in the service industry are genuinely happy with a seemingly uncomplicated, non-competitive career choice. I would bet they are dissatisfied with their own and are envious of the laid-back vibe with camaraderie. Just a suspicion. Because they are small people trying to make themselves feel big. They imagine that someone making $15.50 an hour frying potatoes and building burgers is somehow beneath them. Exactly, I agree, and if it wasn't for them or the UPS FedEx driver or Uber and DoorDash driver's life would be different. Every time I'm at home and catch a UPS driver delivering packages at my house, I offer them a cold Coke. Sir, I have a mom that would be a customer that you'd love. If I had to guess. She doesn't like to be reminded of her days doing low-wage work because she remembers the really bad customer experiences after doing it for years, and now that she's married with my dad, she doesn't have to. It's her flex biceps. Because society has this annoying need to think that if you have a corporate job and earn 6 figures, it's the only way you made it in life. Even if you are miserable as hell and your family is falling apart. Generally, it's the ones that have never done it themselves. Because we live in a meritocracy where the harder you work for something, the more highly you're regarded. Jobs like clerks and fast food workers are entry-level positions that will hire fast and easy. People see this as working a low-merit job, and thus treat people like garbage. Because people are dicks. Because horrible people look down on others, they think less than them. The way I see it, a job's a job. Someone's gotta do it. No matter how low. The wheels need to be turned. Nobody should be shamed for, or ashamed of it. Where people make fun of and bully a janitor custodian. I see an honest worker just trying to make a living doing a job nobody else wants to do. I think it's more of a factor of our social environment. We as in the general public are encouraged to create our own socio-economic divides. And a class bias in general. That way, it is much easier for the people of importance to manipulate the masses. Remove themselves as the conspirator and avoid the blame. I am very high and this has not been proofread or thought through. Sorry. It's not hard to explain when you look at your own question. You yourself called them smaller jobs. They're jobs. Period. I'm pretty sure most people don't. You just hear the loud assholes that do. Do they really? Do masses really look down on low-paid workers? Or is it the occasional asshole? I just don't see the average person having been raised poorly enough to look down on low-paid workers. Because no one grows up wanting to be a barman or a McDonald's worker. So it implies they haven't achieved what they want to in life. Reality is life happens and people get what jobs they can to get by. Because it's an entry-level job, if you're doing it, it usually means you can't do anything else yet. The only people that look down on that are people who have easy lives and have everything handed to them. Don't be too upset with their opinions. Exactly op. Anyone who utilizes any of those services should be grateful to anyone doing things they aren't willing to do themselves. Every job is necessary, well, those jobs are. There are many that are bullshit, but service jobs keep the world moving. It makes them feel better about themselves that someone is lower on the ladder. Good people don't look down on anyone.